All right. Hi, everyone. And
What you're still? Oh.
am I muted still? Am I good? Okay. Hi, everyone who is watching this, and thank you for joining us in this Flipgrid presentation. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Here. All right, so this is going to be a very brief presentation on Flipgrid, and I'll show you a little bit about what or how Flipgrid looks like when you embed it into a course. So first, what is Flipgrid? Flipgrid is a video discussion platform. It is a third-party tool that you can integrate, embed into your courses to supplement your course assignments or projects. Often people have used Flipgrid to replace traditional discussion forums. I've also liked using Flipgrid in my classrooms for students to give introductions. I think John, who's sitting here with me, has mentioned that he's used these introduction videos by students to get, various interests and characteristics about students, but also to allow them to pronounce their names for us. And so there's really a lot of cool uses for these video responses that students can engage in. So we can also use Flipgrids for feedback to get reactions on course readings and materials. And truthfully, it's a really easy platform for students to participate in. So you can embed your Flipgrid prompts and right into your course. Students do have to sign up and join the particular group that you've created, but you can create multiple groups for different classrooms and or for different courses. And once they've joined that group, they can review and see all of the viewable prompts and videos for that course. So they can do video replies to their classmates if you would, require that. I know often when people are creating discussion forums, they require students to respond to a discussion post and then respond to their classmates and react to their classmates' discussion posts. And in the very same way, you can do this with Flipgrid. But you can do it with a video, which is a very engaging way for students to interact with each other. Particularly with online courses, when students aren't often seeing each other face to face in a physical space. Having these videos really humanizes their classmates. It allows them to connect each other, to put faces to names and engage with each other. In a pretty cool and unique way. These video prompts that you can create, and I'll show you how you would do that. There's various settings that you can choose in terms of length of the video response. There are even avatars that students can choose to represent their image in case they're uncomfortable showing their face on video. So there's really a lot of options that can fit most of the students' interests and needs. So there's a few different ways you can have your students or yourself, right, join a Flipgrid group. You can send a link to the group directly. You can also have them go to the main Flipgrid website, which is info.flipgrid.com. And they can use a particular join code for either the Flipgrid topic that you've created within the group or the Flipgrid group itself. So think of the group as, the larger folder of various discussion topics that could fall underneath it. So, I often, in my courses, particularly my online courses where I'm using Flipgrid, I'll create a QR code, very much like this one here, that allows students to take technology from their hands and fingertips and go right to their Flipgrid there. But again, You can also embed these video prompts right into your course pages in course files so that as the student is moving through your course, they'll see the prompt. If they're logged into it, they'll be able to respond to that video prompt right away. And again, when you create a group as an instructor, you can change the settings to require a certain domain. So if you only want students to access this particular group with their Oswego EDU email address, you can require that they sign up via their Oswego EDU email address, or you can allow anyone with a link to join. So there are some options and flexibility for that. So if you can follow our link here or use that QR code, and we'll jump into what that Flipgrid group looks like. So I am going to go ahead and sign in because I'm not signed in yet. So this is my Flipgrid account for, or it's a duplicate of my Flipgrid group for my Women in Crime class this summer. So I've just thrown in a couple of topics here. And if you followed my screen here, we have a hello, I am, which is the introduction video that I ask students to participate in. So, I have, at the moment, all of these are accessible to anyone who is now joined in with this link. I've made this link available so you can access this group at any point in time. It'll always be available to you. So I, ask students, how to pronounce your name in a short 60-second video, what their pronouns are if they want to share this. Something that we as a class should know about you, why they're taking the class, and what is exciting them about this summer. So this really is a great way for students to feel welcome in the classroom environment and get to know their classmates a little bit more. So I'll show you how to create each of these topics here, but I simply created this was actually the default introduction video that Flipgrid uses when you first create a group. So you'll see this pop up. I went ahead and put in some different instructions here, but essentially all you do is go to add your response here, right? So you can allow Flipgrid, right, to use your camera and your microphone. It's now viewing me in this way, so I can go ahead and record. And you'll see a timer up here that's counting down, and this is the timer that the students will be held to for the response. So my name is Maggie Schmuel. My pronouns are she and her. Very excited about this summer course. Very excited about the topic, etc. I can add effects to this. I can add a filter if I'm really feeling that. We can be green or magenta, dramatic. There's a lot of fun things students can do with this, right? We can add different backdrops, which is great for students who may be concerned about where they're filming from. You can add all kinds of different things. I'm not sure why it's not letting me do this at this moment, but so anyways, you can pause, students can edit.
It did do it. That is a blurred background.
Oh, this is the blurred background. You're right, it is. So it's working. So anyways, we'll go ahead and we'll pretend that this is totally finished, and I'll click next. Students can edit this as they see fit. They can add music. They can really be creative. I always encourage students to be as creative as possible with this, because I want to see their personalities in these videos. So, really another thing that I do typically when I set up a Flipgrid is I'll go through and do sample video responses through all of these, or I'll, as students are posting, I'll add a video response to their discussions as we're moving through. So briefly, because we are getting close to our time, I'll show you how you can create, or what it might look like as an instructor. So here I have all of the courses, right, that I've used Flipgrid in. And you can see I have, certain number of video responses in each of these courses. Some of these I've, just duplicated and haven't actually, spent a ton of time creating at this point. But there's a lot of different options here for you. So, in, this duplicate, for instance, right, you can duplicate a group, right? So if you're moving from, one session to another, you can carry over a lot of those. You'll just want to make sure that if you've used any date restrictions or due dates that are there for each topic, you'll just want to make sure that you shift from having an active or scheduled topic to one that students can view and make posts on. So I'll show you what that looks like, right? So we can edit the group here. So we can have, settings. Right now I have anyone with a link can join. You could approve each person who requests to join in. And then, you can copy your link, and this is what you would give to students. They'll be prompted to create an account when they follow that link. So you can drop that into as a course or as a link in your course, a web link in your course LMS. And, once students create that account and they join the group, they'll be able to access all of the video topics that you create for them. So again, if you want to create a new topic, right? So these are the 3 topics that I have right now. Question about theories of gender, and what we can do about violence against women. You can add a topic here, right? Add a title. You can have your question. It's very important to be clear about your instructions. I always like here to tell them what the time frame is for. Is this a 90-second video? Is this a 60-second video? You can go up to several minutes if you like. You can change that in the settings here, or in the recording time right here. Right, so you can go up to 10 minutes if you prefer for students. So I could even imagine, if you're going to have a 10-minute long video response, that could be a presentation for a student, depending on the class and depending on the type of oral assessment you want to give. So there's, really quite a lot of options here. You can add attachments if you want to attach a rubric. This doesn't have a function to directly, you don't have a rubric directly attached to this, but if you want students to view that prior to completing the Flipgrid, that's another way to provide that information to them. And then of course you can do that within your LMS. So settings, this is where you can put in a start and end date. So if you have a particular time frame that you want the topic to, be hidden at a certain time. Again, I'm generally an advocate for keeping topics open as long as possible for students. There will be timestamps for their submission, so you'll know if they've turned it in by a particular best by date or past a hard deadline that you set. Okay, and once you've finished creating that topic, you just post the topic. It's ready. So again, I showed you before, there's a specific group code that you can invite students to join your entire course, and they'll see all of the topics there. You can also embed that any specific topic right into your LMS. So you can just click on this embed code icon here. It's copied that embed code. And so I'll actually go over to this next tab to show you very roughly what this looks like when I've embedded it into Brightspace. So I took that embed code, and as I created a file in Brightspace, I copy and pasted that code right into here. And so now we see that because I'm logged in, right? If I'm not logged in, it will show me a page that requests that I log in. And once I've logged in a separate tab, I can go back to this page, refresh, and the topic will appear for the students. So you can add the response right in here. You know, it keeps the use of Flipgrid pretty seamlessly within the LMS that you're using. Okay, so you would go ahead and record that in the same way. And again, it's all right here in your LMS. So with that, that is all I have for my discussion. Oh, actually, a couple other things. I have for Flipgrid. You know, again, you can encourage students to get creative. They can use avatars if they so choose. You know, think about setting that time frame if you want certain topics to appear at a certain time in the semester. You can create new groups for multiple sections or classes. And again, I just showed you there that Brightspace example of embedding that into the LMS. So with that, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you have any questions on Flipgrid, I'll be using it in many of my classes the next several semesters, I'm sure. And I know many people on campus who are using Flipgrid, so certainly email me or John, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
It's a great free tool. And the fact that it's free is really nice and it's accessible too.